Good afternoon, everybody. David here at Scale Models Midwest. Welcome back to the workbench. Hope you're having a great weekend. And of course, happy Father's Day to those of you out there celebrating. Hope that your families gave you time on your workbench to build cool kits. Maybe even better, that you're with them at the workbench building those cool kits. So again, happy Father's Day. And a shout out to my dad and my father-in-law who are no longer with us. Sitting here at the workbench, getting things buttoned up, getting ready to actually start tearing into the latest kit that I'm going to be building. And I'm going to do that hopefully while watching a little bit of the NASCAR race here in Altoona, right down the road from Newton. We got the NASCAR Big Show finally coming to town. Anyhow, getting back to this build, this is one of my entries for Jason over at Blue Ox Model Shop. He's got the second annual Street Machine Group build, and this one I based off of the MPC Streaker Vette, which I already showed you the box art for that. The Vette went together pretty decently. I caused some issues with it, and I was able to fix that, but I'll tell you what to expect when you're putting this one together. I had it initially as a roller until final assembly, when I realized that the front suspension, sorry, that's my daughter upstairs yelling at the TV, it would not fit. They were right there on top of the wheel wells, and I wanted this thing to have a hunkered down look. So the mounting pins for the tires or for the rims, they're just a little too long. So I actually took them off. I cut about 1/8 of an inch off of both sides and then glued them back in, and they seated up underneath the fenders perfectly. However, it negated the fact that I had it as a turning tire and wheel assembly. It had the tie rod and everything all set up to turn. It does barely turn a bit, but I don't want to go moving it and potentially break it. But it did also negate the fact that this was no longer a roller, because when I glued the pins into the rim, there was just not enough pin left for it to freewheel. So basically it's all but glued to the mounting hub itself. The rear ends, they still roll. They're just fine. I was a little concerned. I was really thinking what I could do is what some people did to these Corvettes back in the 70s, even in the 60s, and that was actually radius the wheel well so I could get this to sit down lower. But then I thought, no, I didn't want to do that. I thought I would, but I decided against it. I thought, leave it as is. And then, of course, as I was talking before, I've got about 5 coats of the ruby red metallic Testors paint that I decanted into a jar, did my thinner, did the airbrushing. I think it came out really nice. And it's got 3 coats of clear as well, polished out with up to 12,000 on the micromesh sandy cloths. The decals, these came from the kit. I liked those, but this one, this little decal, I kind of like the asymmetric look. If you know, the Grand Sport Corvette had 2 little stripes on the side. I do kind of like the asymmetric look on certain kits, and I think the Vette played out well for this one. So what I did was I had the old decal sheet from the Hippie Hemi Cuda, and what I did with this one was I cut the decal down so it would fit the hood, and then place it on there, and I think the colors match pretty decently, so I liked it. The undercarriage, really nothing to write home about. It's just very basic, and as you see, I've got the pipes yet to put on. I still have those. I will get that put together before I put them up on the shelf. I kind of wish that the Corvette decal scripts were a little better to read than what you see here. I think you can still barely see it, but I just used the one decal and figured I would just leave the rest as it is. The engine bay, just pretty basic, no wiring. I left the 2-piece air scoop off because it just didn't look right even after I sanded it, put it together. I just didn't want to put any more time into it, so I figured leave that as it is. I will probably use some Tamiya panel line accent just to kind of put into the holes of each. I did put the ancillary components inside the engine bay, and then that pretty much wraps it up. Ultimately, it's a good kit. It's a good older kit. It's one that, you know, it's not without its little faults, but no kit ever is without its faults. This one's a nice looking shelf model. I'm going to put it up on the shelf along with the other kits and get started on the next builds. I've got a couple already planned. So let me show you one of them that I'm going to start working on. Okay, so I've got a couple kits I'm going to start working on tonight. Hopefully I get back down to the workbench after dinner, after watching a little bit of NASCAR, and start working on this one. This is Tamiya's Toyota Supra 124 scale. This is a sharp little Supra. I remember back in the day when the Toyota Celicas were really good. I had a friend of mine that had a 75 Toyota Celica GT or 77, and that thing, you could just throw all around the place. I mean, we literally ran it into a ditch and ran it back out of a ditch, and it was great. Could power shift this thing, and it was indestructible. I don't think you could run this in a ditch and bring it back out, but still, sharp cars, great handling cars. The one that I saw in town, which inspired me to buy the kit and eventually want to build it, is in red, and it's slammed to the ground, has different set of tires and rims. Mine, on the other hand, is going to be basically box stock. I know I could buy tires and rims for it from the aftermarket. I think Geronimo Works has some stuff like that and other manufacturers, but again, this will be more box stock. But still, I mean, it's got great lines. I don't know if this is left and right hand drive. If it's right hand drive, so be it. But it came in this box. It showed 4 colors, and you could get it in red. All right, and then you could also build it in matte storm gray metallic or downshift blue. And then, of course, on the other side, they had the lightning yellow. Now, knowing my experience with the yellow paints from anyone, I decided I wanted to do something different. So for this kit, I had about, well, whenever I bought the paints for my Mustangs, I went to scalefinishes.com, and I picked up 2021 Toyota Sea Glass Metallic. And I like this one because, sorry, I had to cough there, it has a little bit of a green tint to it. I've always liked green on cars. I like colors on cars. But yeah, this Sea Glass Metallic, pretty sharp car color, and there's plenty there, I'm sure, that'll last more than one car model. So yeah, I've got that. But some of the videos I've been watching of that Supra being built, there's accent colors for the interior within the seat inserts, some side panels, as well as for the console and the front and rear pans. They have these little thin color accents, which were the same as the interior. So that's what I've got this for. This is metallic red, and I'm going to use that for the accent color to the Sea Glass Metallic. I think even with the slight green tint to this that I can tell, I think it'd look good, those two. So basically, that's what I've got on the workbench to start hopefully this evening. Like I said, I'm getting ready to go upstairs and have some lunch and watch a little NASCAR. Well, of course, I just hear this little bell behind me, which means I've got to finish doing some laundry. So I got to do that first. Chores before having a good time. So with that, I'm gonna let you go. Have a great rest of the weekend. Keep building the cool kits. We'll see you next video.